to get started again. Been joined by Councilmember Helton. Good to have you with us. And I believe Mr. Miller is going to present the budget.
Okay, I'm going to start off just giving the highlights of the annual budget for fiscal year 2017-18, which actually is July 1st, 17 to June 30th, 1918. Proposing that the millage rate remains the same at 1.4227. It's been that way since 2010 to 2011, and do not propose an increase. I will say that we are going through reassessments, and due to the fact that they're in the appeals process right now, we are going to be delayed in getting our assessed valuation for the reappraisals as well as the new construction. We should have the new construction figures by the end of May. However, it depends on going through the whole appeal process is when we're going to get the assessed valuation. So why is that important? Because the assessed valuation comes in higher than what the assessed valuation is, what we're proposing in the budget. I'll get to that in a second. We've got to roll back the millage rate to be revenue neutral and go from there if our assessed valuation goes up. If it goes down, then that's another story. I don't think it's going to go down. So right now we're proposing 1.4227, which is revenue neutral as of this fiscal year. It does not draw upon any of the fund balance. We'll get into the fund balance in a second. It actually maintains a healthy fund balance projected at about 1.947 billion. That is unaudited figures, and that's based on 10 out of 12 months. So we could conceivably be higher than that, depending on any windfalls that come out in May and June. And two of the big key revenue streams are property tax, which we got a nice chunk in today, which we are at 99.3%. And on the sales tax that we've had, I'd say more than countywide sales tax than the state sales tax together. We are going to have a windfall on the sales tax. That's going to come in way over. Right now, we kind of project we had 92%. Local option sales tax were 92%, and that's based on 9 months collection, 3 months to go. So we are going to be way over, which is good because it builds up our fund balance. General fund budget is balanced at $13,730,775. Projected income matches the anticipated expenditures. Proposes no rate or fee increases. However, we may be looking at fee increases. Okay, what happened?
Move your mouse, maybe that'll help.
They can
If your
only sit
computer
still for
shuts,
so long,
yeah, if your computer.
then they'll cut themselves off.
Okay, here we go. Thank you. Proposes no rate or fee increases. However, we may see some increases in some of the building activities permitting, and we will bring those to you at another date. Proposes an addition of 6 full-time positions and 1 part-time position. I'll get into that. And proposes vehicle and equipment replacements in the general fund capital outlay totaling $534,346, and I'll get into all of that in a second. So moving to on the budget, I'm just going to go through the 10 pages briefly. Total revenue picture we're looking at is $13,730,775. This gives you an idea of where the big ticket items are as far as your property taxes and your other local taxes. Which are basically your sales tax, countywide sales tax, and state sales tax. Expenditures, they come in, total appropriations again balanced at $13,730,775. Concern on personnel services is $8,969,960, which represents about 65% of the general fund appropriations. Since we are a service-oriented service, people that provide service, that's why personal services are higher. Moving down, when you look at the proposed all funds budget for fiscal year 2017-18, you're looking at $772,302. That is a decrease from last year of $388,394. Please realize that you're looking at all the funds, which includes the general fund, which was the increase, the state street fund, the grant fund, the drug investigation fund, the solid waste management fund, the debt service fund, capital improvement program fund, and when you total that out, you got to less the transfers, deduct the transfers, because you don't want to, you want to eliminate double counting, which is transfers from one fund to another. Okay, let's get into what the general fund is about. Property taxes, we're looking at millage rate of 1.4227. How do we get to that number? Preliminary assessed value as of September 2016, $347,942, $360. We did add the valuation of a couple of major developments that will fully come online in fiscal year 17 and 18, which is all the Walmart, the Life Care Center, and the Bass Pro Shop. Last year, the Life Care Center, Bass Pro Shop was not included in the assessed valuation. It is now. They will generate property taxes. And we believe that based on the information we received from the Property Appraiser's Office, that will reflect an increase of $11,540,173. That's predominantly the new construction. This does not include any of the new housing that's gone on, or constructed within the city, or any new small retail buildings that have been constructed in the city. We don't have those numbers. So in summary, the city's assessed valuation increases approximately 3.32% to a total of $482,533 times our proposed millage rate. Question rate being 97. You very rarely ever get above 97. This year we're going to hopefully do very well. That gives us an estimated revenue stream, which only does not include the reassessments at $4,960,927. Now we're going to look at that. Those are the property tax, $4,960,927. Now we're going to look at the other revenues, other than the property taxes. And that shows an increase of $453,590 next proposed budget year 2017-18 to the budget year we're currently in 16 and 17. We talked a little bit about the incremental state sales tax, which is the Border Region Redevelopment Act. That will generate an additional, we believe, $62,900. That's based on those buildings that were added, built within the Border Region District that come online. And those sales tax dollars is estimated, but we're looking at that. You want to point out that when the bill went signed into law earlier this week by the governor, there were two things that were added in there that affects all cities, not all cities. Which affects us and Bristol and Kingsport. Sales tax decreases from 5 cents to 4 cents. So we are going to lose approximately $70,000 to $80,000 in sales tax generated within the Border Region District. However, that will not be until the 2018-2019 fiscal year. Remember, we get paid at the end of the fiscal year. So what we get paid in September is for fiscal year 16 and 17. So what we lose in 17-18, we get paid in 18. So that would be the 18-19 fiscal year that we will lose those dollars. Hopefully we will see those increased. And this is based on predominantly the 4 grocery stores. 2 of them are in the Border Region and 2 of them are out. Unfortunately, the heaviest generator is Walmart. And unfortunately, they're located in, so there's a major part of that loss is from them. On the good side, the local option sales tax and the state sales tax are anticipated to yield an estimated plus $225 to $89 and $89,000 respectively over last year. These figures are net, and they do include the expected losses attributed to the decrease in the grocery store grocery sales tax. We are projecting about $120,000 loss in next year's fiscal year 17 and 18 local option sales tax and state sales tax due on the decrease from 5 cents to 4 cents. However, the local option sales tax and state sales tax is significantly a windfall this year. It is heavy, it's high. The state is upwards to 5 to 7% more. We're looking at an estimated 5%. I don't have as much guts to push it to 7, just in case something happens with the economy. But we are looking, this has been very strong for us this year. Other projected revenues are expected to remain relatively the same, except for some of the others, the business tax net, state net allocation will increase about $50,000. Indoor soccer, saw a windfall there. That's picking up. As a matter of fact, 24,500 is going to be a little higher next year if the participation stays the way it has been this past fiscal year. The rent and arena equipment, $6,000. Interest income is starting to creep up a little bit. We should get another $5,000 to $10,000 more. Being conservative, I put in 5. And of course, the big decrease was due to the $25,000 on the closure of the Needy Child Fund. That was closed this year. That money was transferred over to the Needy Child Fund. So there are no appropriations in the budget for 17 and 18 for the Needy Child Fund. That's gone. They are a 501c3 nonprofit, so whatever revenues they generate, fundraisers, etc., is theirs to spend. So we look at the general fund balance. This is our unassigned fund balance for the fiscal year. For the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2016, that total was $5,423,821. General fund balance will decrease. We are anticipating a deficit of $716,337. That's unaudited. For the fiscal year that will end June 30th, 2017. Therefore, we'll see a decrease in that fund balance at this time, going down to $4,707,484. So the big reason is, how come? Did expenditures outweigh the revenues? Well, not the contrary, no. The reason why is that funds were appropriated from the unassigned fund balance during the fiscal year that was approved by the City Council to compensate for items that were not budgeted. For example, the construction of Fire Station Number 2. We had $1 million in the budget. We decided to add the third bay an additional $400-some-thousand. That came from the fund balance. The closing of the Needy Child Fund, that was a loss of about $19,000 or $20,000. About $24,000. We had to cut that check out to them. The purchase of the skid loader and the backhoe, we decided instead of going out on a bond issue for 5 years, we saved $20,000 by doing that in interest costs. We funded it from our fund balance. And then, of course, the beautification of Exit 1 was $240,000 that we signed an architectural agreement with ASA, Engineering for Engineering Design. So of these projects came from the general fund, came from the general fund unassigned fund balance. Now, of those items mentioned, the beautification of Exit 1, totaling $240,000, will be reimbursed back to the general fund once those funds become available for this capital project via a bond issue that will be secured by the revenue source of the Board of Regents sales tax. All the others will not come back. So you take the $4,707,484 and you add 240 to that, that's where you get just about $5 million in fund balance. The city's fund balance policy, same at the present time, states that the city shall maintain a minimum fund balance reserve, that we, another way of calling it. It is not a contingency fund. It is not a contingency fund. it's a reserve or a fund balance. In the general fund, in an amount equivalent to not less than 2 months general operating expenses. Our monthly general operating expenses is about $1 million. Therefore, the minimum fund balance would equal $2 million. We meet that $2 million. I will say, talking to several of you on council and being here now almost a year, I would strongly recommend to the city council that we increase that fund balance policy to possibly $3 or $4 million. And the reason why I say the policy is, if we get hit with a catastrophic event, which happened several months ago in Athens, where a tornado went down, $4 million is going to go real fast. I'll tell you that right now. All it needs to go up there. I was down and looked at Joplin about 7 or 8 years ago when that tornado tore that city apart. And I can tell you, it was more than $4 million damage done to that city. So, to be on the safe side, you know, you don't want to start going to the bank and saying, I need money to fix ourselves up. And FEMA is on a reimbursement. You got to spend the money to get it back. You might have the money to be able to spend. So I think that it would be wise for the council to consider increasing the minimum fund balance that we maintain. Now, we're moving to the expenditure side for fiscal year 2017. This upcoming fiscal year is proposed to be $819,784 above the current fiscal year, and that represents a 6.35% increase. Personnel costs, as I mentioned before, equal approximately 65% of the total general fund. Because we are a service-oriented organization, we don't build widgets, we provide service. Total personnel count, and you have it in the back in the budget document, for the overall budget program. This is all funds. When I say all funds, we include the general fund, and then we add sanitation fund. It looks at 134 full-time positions and 28 part-time positions. This is 6 full-time positions and 1 part-time position more than the fiscal year we are currently in. I'll get to that in a second because that's coming up. Major increases in the personnel costs, 2017-2018 proposed budget over the 2016-2017 current budget adds 4 police officers positions. We're proposing 2 to be assigned to a reestablished traffic unit to enforce moving traffic violations. I think one of the biggest complaints I get on a weekly basis is speeding. Traffic signals. I nearly bought it today when I got a green light at Thomas and Ringgold Road. I started out in a green light, that woman came around right through a red light and almost took me out. Anyway, the other 2 would be assigned to what I would call is a newly created crime suppression unit, or what we refer to as a CSU. This unit would key in on drugs, gangs, and criminal activity within the city. When you're looking at a drug house, when you're looking at a meth house, when you're looking at a bar that you're having problems with, whether it be prostitution or serving alcohol to minors, whatever that criminal activity is occurring, whenever a police officer drives up in the market and they quit, everybody becomes good boys and good girls, and carries on. What I'm talking about is a unit that will drive around and jump police vehicles, jump vehicles that we pick up through seizures, through drug raids and so forth, confiscated vehicles, and then have them wear plain clothes, jeans, torn up jeans, whatever, however they want to look, with their hair real long, their starting here, whatever. They will key in on these type of activities in the city, give us the intel, and then we've got something to go on, to go after. 2 members is a start. I can't stress the importance of having read the police reports on a daily basis. I make the chief give them to me. And I'd be kidding you to say we don't have criminal activity that, to me, raises a red flag and gang activity going on in the city. It can be put under control, but I've got to have the tools to be able to do it. I've got to have the intel that's needed. Can we build on this? We certainly can in the future. We do have this type of activity going on in the city, and I can't tell you how important it is that we start attacking it the way we need to. I've been very successful with CSU units before. You all know I spent 9.5 years in College Park, Georgia, which we averaged about 12 to 20 murders a year. Every night, year I was there. A lot of drugs, a lot of gang activities. We had a 6-member, what we call it was a Special Investigating Unit, SIU, and I had a 2-member gang unit that worked in conjunction with Atlanta just to stay up on these things. Gangs are here. We need to key in on them. Enough on that one. One fire inspector position is proposed to work with the building official. When Kenny Custer was removed or transferred, I should say transferred from the fire department, removed. Sounds physical, doesn't it? Okay, I didn't mean that.
They kicked me out.
When Mike found out he kicked you out, yeah. When Mike found out you were leaving, yeah. Kenny was the fire inspector over there. Now he's come on board, and as a building official, and you will see later on in here, if you have not looked at had time to read the whole budget, I am looking at a promotion to him to the Director of Community Services, which would oversee WWTA, planning, zoning, fire inspection, building inspection, and code enforcement. Those would be the divisions that will be under him. The fire inspector would be involved with inspections, annual inspections that we would need to do for multifamily commercial buildings. And lastly was when we took over the maintenance of the fields, the facilities, the conveyance of land over to East Ridge High School. We had proposed at that time one grounds maintenance position, so the person that's been doing that will now become a full-time person. That position will. And then lastly, we had one park ranger in the police department. We had moved the park ranger positions over to the recreation department, and we added another one, so we'll have two part-time park rangers for parks, development, control, and security at Camp Jordan Park. Salaries. Proposing a 3% across-the-board increase in salary for all employees. This increase will help offset the anticipated increase to the medical benefits that the employee will likely incur due to expected increase in medical insurance. That's the next one we talk about, the medical insurance. We are getting body slammed on the medical insurance rates this year. It depends on which way you look at it. Blue Cross Blue Shield measurement of Tennessee, which we've been under for the past several years. We've had a couple of very large claims, and they have paid at least $200,000 to $300,000 more than what the premiums generated from us. So they're going to look at getting that back. So we have put in the budget 15%. It may not be enough. I hope it is enough. We may be making a change from Blue Cross Blue Shield in Tennessee to other insurance companies, United Healthcare, and there's another one I can't think of right now. Cigna. We have our John Davis, our broker, doing a review on this. He feels very comfortable that we can get a policy that will be no more than 15%. So I'm hoping that that will be the case. We may be looking at some more changes in the policy, which pushes more of the cost on to the employee. Retirement and pension, looking at an increase in appropriations of $73,316 to the employee's pension fund. This is predominantly due to the 6 full-time positions. We've got to put pension in for six positions, and also the 3% cost of living adds 3% to the pension. So that cost is there. I do want to say, let me check my budget to make sure I'm positive on this. We are going to, once we get into past the budget, I want to start looking at our personnel rules and regulations. There are several benefits to that personnel rules and regulations. That to me, I have never seen in any city I've served, in every city I've served, it has been in a major metropolitan area. Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, Miami, Atlanta, and Kansas City. I have never, ever seen a policy on leave buyback. That's costing the city $221,250 in the upcoming fiscal year. $221,250. That's paid to employees who do not take the vacation. They accumulate all that vacation, and they get that big check every year. Never heard of it before, never dealt with it before. It's going to be something that we're going to have to come up with to deal with. The city cannot be financially, it's going to grow every year. I've got employees that haven't taken a vacation for years. And they can't tell me that everybody functions without a vacation. Nobody, including me, is indispensable. That you can't take 2 or 3 week vacation. So we'll be looking at that. We'll all be bringing it to your attention. It's going to be your decision, not mine. I can only look at ways we can tweak it, ways we can to deal with it. But the ultimate, and I know this is a sore subject with some of the people. It's one I know that the employees have, but sooner or later, it's going to take its toll on the budget. Other operating expenses that we had a modest increase in the uniforms and clothing for all departments. That is predominantly due to the 4 police officers in the department. Operating supplies, we saw an increase basically $27,200. A lot of this was primarily due to new furnishings for fire station number 2. We have $30,000 appropriated there. That's a one-time charge for new furnishings for fire station number 2. And you will not see that reoccurring after fiscal years after that, fiscal year 18, 19, 19, 20, etc. Utilities came in a little bit of an increase of $17,725, predominantly due to fire station number 2 coming online. So that one has to go up. And in ground maintenance, an increase of $13,550, primarily due to maintenance of fields and facilities at East Ridge High School. Some of the other ones pretty much are anticipated and are minor enough. Oh, I should note too, a major decrease was the elimination or reduction in the appropriation of $102,979. That was nice, not to pay that. That was that debt service that we were paying annually for the short-term loans we had on police vehicles and trucks. I think we need to get away from that because it's nice to be able to not have to appropriate $102,000 to pay your credit card off. Capital outlay for proposed for fiscal year 17 and 18 is proposed at $534,346. Where we are looking at building maintenance needs 1 pickup truck. That is a replacement truck. Police department administration needs 6 replacement vehicles. He asked for more. I could not accommodate more. Going to have to look at creative ways. Hopefully if we do end up getting the traffic unit grant that we applied for 2 officers, then we can reappropriate the dollars for the salaries of the 2 traffic unit people that we have, plus the vehicles. But we'll find a way to make it work. 12 radios are replacement radios. In the fire department, we're looking at 9 fire radios. These replace the obsolete ones. This was on a 3-year, is it the 3-year plan, Mike?
Correct, this is last year.
And the scuba air packs. This is the 3rd of the last year.
This is last year.
Last year for 9 SCBA air packs. And these are required by federal law. We do not have a choice on that. SCBAs have to be certified and have to be of 5 or 7 years.
Depends on the brand.
Okay.
These will go out January.
Okay. And then we have 1 staff vehicle replacement. Building, planning, and zoning, we have 1 vehicle that would be new for the new fire inspector. Street department, we're looking at a paver box so we can start doing some of our own asphalt paving. Now this is a paver box, it's $7,000. It's not one of those large pavers that you see behind these trucks, those things were about $40,000-$50,000. I wasn't gonna get one of those. This is a paver box that just goes on the back, and you tip up the truck bed, the asphalt comes down, and they level it out and then roll it. So we can do some of small projects out there and jobs in the city other than just throwing asphalt down and rolling over. Street sweeper, the one we have right now, is completely ineffective. I'm proposing that we go out, bid on this, but that we, saying here, since this piece of equipment has at least a 10-year life expectancy, I'm recommending that we fund it under the Tennessee Municipal Bond Fund for a 7-year period. Those debt services would be about $34,000 a year, with debt services to commence in 2018 or 19. Not the upcoming fiscal year, but the one after that. Recreation, we're looking at one pickup truck. This will be used. We do not need a new truck. Pick up a used one. It's not low miles on it, because we're going to use it for low miles. We'll be lucky to put 4,000 or 5,000 miles a year on it, if that. And it's just from running back and forth within the city. Parks Gator for the parks. This will be a replacement. And then I put $25,000 in here for resurfacing the tennis courts over at Pinewood Park. We talked about this as a one-time cost when we were talking about taking over those facilities. And lastly, I put $3,000 in there. This would be for new and replacement furniture in the library. We did not, the library director, when he left, we had not completed everything we wanted to do over there, so I put $3,000 in there. So that's where you end up with the $534,346.
Mr. Miller,
Yes,
in the police department, these cars, these 6 vehicles, are these going to be patrol? It says administration. Are these
no, these are patrol.
patrol?
I'm sorry, you're right. I put down police department administration because we take it out of that department. These are not administrative vehicles. These are police patrol pursuit vehicles. 6 pursuit vehicles, correct? Yep.
Also, while he brought that up on the fire department, you've got one staff vehicle replacement, is that?
Yes.
That?
I'm sorry, that's for deputy.
That's correct, it's an off-road vehicle also.
I'll try it. It's good.
All-wheel drive vehicle.
Yeah, we're looking at Ford Explorer, all-wheel drive. You can pick those up for about $31,000 to $34,000.
And that's going to do?
Deputy chief. But we also want to have an all-terrain in case we've got to get into the back areas. The one in the building department, that one's going to be all-wheel drive too. We're looking again at the Ford Explorer. We don't need those big GMCs, Yukons, or whatever they're called. I know we have a couple people that drive them, but they're big cars. I think the Ford Explorers will provide the room in them at a lot less price.
On the police vehicles and stuff, does that include computers? And
Yes,
all
no,
that?
we take the computers out of the old cars and put them in the new. But everything else I think is new. It's the package, yes.
Now, speak on the street sweeper.
Yes, sir.
You said that's a 10-year.
I'm saying minimum 10. I'm saying 10.
I went to Texas to buy the one we got now. It's a whole lot over 10 years.
I know. But what we got right now, I'm sitting in my office one day, and no kidding, that street sweeper went around my city hall 7 times. That's how long it took just to pick it up. The water system doesn't work, the collector box is shot, the wire bristles, rooms are no good, they don't come all the way down. You see this thing going down Ringgold Road, I told them quit doing it. All they were doing was I was getting complaints from the businesses. It's a dust bowl, especially last summer going down because the water system didn't work. It needed replaced, and I thought if I go put $4,000 or $5,000 into that, to add that. So we need a new one.
We're gonna put that on .gov or something, get rid of it?
Yes, yes. Be a good vehicle to have down now. Just kidding.
Everybody pull a boat?
No, yeah, you pull it out of the water. I don't know if it's good for interstate, but, okay, moving to, let's see, we're gonna move down to the State Street Aid Fund. That was the general fund I just reviewed. On the State Street Aid Fund, we have, this is generating dollars. Fund balance for the end of fiscal year 2016 and 17 is projected at $918,000. We're going to add revenues of $967,225. Therefore, our projected revenue stream should come out about $1.8 million. We will generate about $123,000 on the increase in the gas tax projected by the state. I projected $130,000. They're projecting $123,000. I hope we get more than that. More people to stop and gas up at exit 1, the better off we are. These funds, again, are restricted. They can only be used for street reconstruction, resurfacing, curbs, sidewalk, and drainage. Major appropriations we have proposed in this include street lighting, $190,000, city's match on the TDOT grants, $104,168. We do have a drainage replacement drain pipe in the city right away on South Seminole Drive. It's going to cost us $63,000. We've got to replace that pipe. It's collapsed. And it's in our right of way. It's our responsibility. We couldn't do it this year because I didn't have the dollars to do it. And residents there were very acceptable to saying, we'll wait till next summer. So if I get this approved, we'll be able to complete that work.
Do we have a problem now here in front of the Salvation Army store, there at the corner, it looks like somebody's dug up and there's a big hole? Because I know there's a big drainage ditch.
Yeah, there's a drainage ditch there. The last I was there was about a month ago, and the streets were down there. We did the best we could surfacing that drainage area there.
They're digging from around the back.
I think they're doing a lab.
Yeah, like.
Who's doing the lateral?
I think WFTA is doing.
Oh, WWTA maybe.
Okay, because I know there's a humongous drainage ditch right down there.
Okay. And then I've got with the balance of dollars, I'm proposing that we continue our street resurfacing program, even though it's only in the amount of $600,000 and change. I do think that it's something that we need to do to keep our roads updated, set aside a certain amount every year, and let's get it done. Let's do it. Next one we have is the grant fund. The grant fund is always successful as the amount of revenue we're able to generate from grants that we put in from Ms. Miller for the city. If all the grants come in that we certainly hope to, are hopeful for, we're looking at revenue stream coming in at $3.2 million. If that happens, we'll be able to do our projects, the ADA retrofitting grant, our CDBG blight removal, our grants for our cities match on the TDOT multimodal activities grant, building better communities grant, safe route to schools grant, and also the police traffic grant, if we're successful in getting those projects. Drug investigation fund, that's a special restricted fund established for and accounting for financial resources received from federal state grants. For example, the Edward Byron grant, which we get every year, seizures and awards for the court department, DOJ forfeitures, drug fines, etc. That's not a high revenue generator. However, since it is a fund, we need to report it as such. So if everything comes in, we'll have a projected revenue stream of just a little over just under $51,000. Solid Waste Management Fund, our balance at the end of this fiscal year is projected to be $273,103. When we generate our revenue streams next year from the sanitation assessment fee, dumpster rental, sale, mulch, and refuse. Disposal charges will bring in an additional $1.5 million, so therefore we're looking at a budget of about $1.798 for fiscal year 17-18. The expenditures to operate include personnel costs, that would include a 3% on COLA, contractual operating expenses, materials and supplies, The capital outlay would be a replacement side loader, $185,000. The one we have now is just about held together. Once we got one side loader this year, then one next year, and then we'll be able to wait several years before we need to replace it. We're in the service, we need to provide our vehicles, because the vehicles go down, and we're down one truck out there, and we don't necessarily always get our routes done. Debt service, that's a special fund established to account for and report financial resources that are restricted or committed to expenditure of interest and principal on long-term general obligation debt. Hotel motel tax is the largest contributor to this, $360,000. We do have an additional dollars coming in on that. I just don't have a time parameter for the new hotel going in over at Jordan Crossing, Hampton Inn, thank you. That will add to that, so if that project is up and running and has its doors open at the end of this calendar year, we could stand to get 6 months of revenue from that. I didn't factor that in because it's dangerous to do something like that on a project that just, and I know they've started, but you don't want to put money in until you know that building is framed in and so forth. Just in case, I want to be sure. Our debt service in this fund stands very healthy. So we were able to reduce the $185,000 to $33,099 to the sizable excess fund balance we have in this fund. And that was able to generate some of the proposed increase in services that we have for looking at and anticipate for fiscal year 2017-2018. I will say that the debt service fund is also going to grow in the next 12 months. We did an action tonight, $725,000 bid to, what's the name?
Did the landscaping on Camp
Yeah.
Jordan
Yeah,
Parkway.
Yeah, the landscape, Camp Jordan Parkway. We're going to go out on a loan for that one. When the bid comes, when we go out for bid on exit one, whatever, we've got $1 million that we've set aside for it, $500,000 from the state, $500,000 from the county, and we've got a subsequent request into the state, ask if we can get $500,000 more, to see what happens on that. But that cost could conceivably go over $3 million, so that increases on us, and that will have to be bonded out also. Of course, that will be bonded out through revenues generated out of the Board of Region District sales tax. But it's still got to be debt service. It's still got to be reported. So, and then if we go forth with the beautification project and exit one, that one again will be debt service. So those are three projects that we conceivably be looking at going in for debt over the next fiscal year 2017-2018. Capital Improvements Program Fund, we're projecting the fund balance at the end of this current calendar year, $626,379. We added to the anticipated revenue proposed for 17 and 18. We'll look at projected revenue stream of $2 million. So some of these projects will be funded out of there. Debt service or the CIP program. Right now we've got fire station number 2, got $500,000 left in there. Construction of exit 1 interchange, $1,193,000, and community development 50/50 grant at $50,000. This is the one that funds the facade grants in the city. Am I right on that? Facade grants, or is that in the budget?
It's in the capital project.
Capital projects, okay.
You're right.
Okay, so that concludes a briefing of what is in the budget. Don't need to be repetitive. There are several items that we want to touch on before I conclude. We cannot, I was asking, we adopt the budget tonight? No, we can't. We can't adopt the budget because we don't have the final assessed values and we can't set the millage rate. So we may be operating, as I mentioned, in budget, we may be operating on a month-to-month going into next fiscal year until we get the finals. We cannot adopt our millage rate until we get our final assessed valuation for property values. I do want to say that in your package, you do have a proposal that I'm looking at for reclassifications and pay raises for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For 11 personnel, those reclassifications are all, most of them are all due to increased duties and responsibilities. One of them was felt underpaid. These were based on my review of pay grade classifications from cities within Hamilton County, including Red Bank, Sunny Days, and Collegedale. I did look at Cleveland, I did look at Chattanooga, only because they're close to us, but predominantly we compare mostly with Red Bank, Sunny Days, and Collegedale. So we're fine in the mix. We have some that are making a little more, some that are making less. But basically, the pay ranges which we have established, we're pretty well comparable and competitive with those 3 cities. And then second, I want to draw your attention to an email that received from Patricia Cassidy, our court administrator, basically saying that that position comes up for election in 2018. So if we're looking to raise the salary, that we need to do that now. That doesn't mean we need to budget it in this budget, but we need to put that out now, because individuals that want to run for this office will then know what the salary is and what benefits go along with it. Ms. Cassidy would not receive these benefits, the increase in salary benefits, unless she is elected to that position. So if we do it next budget year, we'll be in the middle of an election process, and we don't want to do that. So it should be, council may look at this. Just if you have any questions, feel free to talk to me. I think it's warranted, something that we should look at doing, and go from there. I don't think you have the organizational charts in the back. We'll go over them. I made a couple changes. Probably the only basic change I made, or material change I made, was changing the position of building official to Director of Community Services, because he's taking on additional duties and responsibilities as a director position. And I appreciate that. Makes my job easier.
Did you move, animal services?
Yes, I'm sorry, thank you. I was just ready to say that. And we also took animal services. Thank you. We took that away from the police and put them under Director of Community Services, only because they have more dialogue with the code enforcement officers than they do with the police officers. So they work a little more hand in hand out in the field, so that made it a little easier to make that change. We also took the park rangers out of the police department. Last year, previous years, they've been in the police department. We've taken them and put them in, our 2 part-time park rangers in with the recreation director, because he knows the schedules, the events out at Camp Jordan. I don't need to have park rangers working on a weekend where there's nothing happening out there. But I do need park rangers working out there, like tomorrow, or like Saturday, when we have the big events going on for that day. I think, what is that, the classic car show?
Mo party,
Yeah.
Mopar party.
So we need to provide security and a sense of security out there. That's why those were moved from the police over to recreation.
Are the park rangers going to be subject to the training that the police is subject to? You know, they have to go once a year, state reimburses them for training?
We don't have to do that, no.
Okay.
We are not providing, the park rangers will have radios, they will have uniforms. When they run into a problem, they can put a call into the police and the police will respond. They do not want park rangers taking it upon themselves.
Now,
No,
do we ever write tickets down there?
no,
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 Park rangers cannot write tickets.
No.
They call the police, but they're not writing.
exactly. Exactly. I want to keep it minimal. The more starts, the more I have found. I've had park rangers in just about every city I've worked for the past 2.5, 3 decades. And I run into problems when I give them additional responsibilities. Example, you get a park ranger who writes a ticket, person blows up, the next thing you know, you've got an escalated fight on your hands. I'd rather have the police officers do it. They have the stun guns, they have the pepper spray, whatever. They have the tools to be able to abate those. A little bit different. They need to call. I ran into problems with that in one city, so I decided I don't want to ever do that again. I guess right now I'd be asking the council, do you want to go through any work sessions or on the budget? That's pretty much at your decision, or come in and talk to me, however you want to do it. In other cities that I've been in, we've gone into study sessions or work sessions where we've actually gone from department to department and explained it all. In other cities I've been with, basically I presented the budget and entertained questions and went from there, so I'll leave it up to the council.
Personally, just like, maybe give us a little bit to go through it, since we're not gonna be able to pass this budget.
No, you can't. I'll give you time, and if you have any questions, feel free
You
to
don't
come in
have
and talk to me
questions
about it.
about something, you come, set up a point of view, come by and talk to me about it.
Sure. We're gonna have to make the decisions.
And I
when
wouldn't
we get to the
mind, if,
finals.
say if I come talk to you and I have a question, and it's, kind of a legit question, maybe throw out an email to the other council members.
What your question
What
was?
my question was,
responses.
and
I can
what
do that.
response was.
I can do
And
that.
that way everybody's on board with kind of work.
Right.
If they
Any
want to-
changes,
if they want to do that.
Right. Any changes, I can do that through email. That's no problem.
You don't have any idea then when we'll get the millage rate?
No.
Is this because they're doing their
Reassessments.
2-year evaluation?
They're doing the reevaluations. 3 assessments are done over 4 years. And that's the email or the letters that all the cities got from the property person. It depends on how many appeals they have.
Well, I was on that.
If they get an awful lot of appeals, everybody has a right to appeal, whether they want to spend time or not spend time. Some do their homework and come in loaded for bear, and others do not. But everybody has a right to appeal, and the Board of Reassessment, whatever you call that, I'm not sure what you call them, Jesse, has the responsibility to hear every appeal.
So I was hearing officer for 1 year with the county.
Yeah.
So I got to hear a lot of them.
How many?
Well, mine were the ones that they went through an appeal process, and if they wasn't happy with that, then they went through me.
Okay,
And
well,
then from there, they go, if they didn't like what the evaluation was then, and they had to go to the state.
okay,
Still had the
okay.
opportunity to go to state.
That's-
I probably,
that's a lot.
there was.
Yeah, that's what takes the time,
Yeah, there's
unfortunately.
about 10 hearing officers and that we probably talked to a couple of them.
Yeah. In a county this size with the population, yes.
And most of it was lake property, dry property, mountain property, stuff like that.
I will have the budget continuation ordinance ready for first reading at the first meeting in June. Because we have to have that in place by June 30th,
Right.
that we're on continuation, so I can have it to the state. And then we have 60 days to pass a budget after that. So,
Okay, now the other thing about it is too, this budget's proposing 3% cost of living, it's proposing positions, it's proposing reclassifications. They cannot go into effect until this budget is adopted. That's the ball. We start July 1st. That budget is, we take our current budget, divide it by 12, And that's what we were able to spend for that month, no more. So we cannot spend dollars in FY 17-18 budget until it's approved. So,
Is
any
that
kind
gonna
of,
mess up some of the projects we have, going?
Debt is different.
that's different.
That's
That's
different.
continuing.
Debt, yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, now the chief can get ready to bid out the 6 vehicles if this budget's approved, but you can't award the bid until we have this new budget adopted.
Pay raise and everything will go back retroactive.
The pay raises will go retroactive, the reclassifications would not.
All right. Very good. So we will have, obviously, plenty of opportunity to review the budget in depth. I do believe the last two reappraisal cycles, we've ended up going into July or August before we actually had the opportunity to really adopt a budget. So, yeah, this is not unusual. So, all right, well, thank you all very much. Hope you have an excellent evening, and Saturday, 8 to 1, East Ridge Middle School, opportunity to do a little community project there. And get out to all the different events that are taking place, Mo Party and other things happening. Thank you. Have a good evening.
It's the